Get the boat gassed up, saunter down to the dock. Put the Yeti in the back and she's ready to rock. It's a May River thing. It's a May River thing. It's a May River thing. Got the whole family down here. It's a May River thing.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Wood with another edition of Low Country Chronicle. Very excited to talk RBC Heritage today. Masters Week this week, but next week the Low Country takes center stage in the golf world as the 2022 edition of the RBC Heritage takes center stage at Harbour Town. And we are very honored to speak to today the tournament director for the RBC Heritage, longtime tournament director, Steve Wilmot, great friend for years, and just one of the best people that I've come across in this business. Has put together an unbelievable team there. Some exciting changes coming for 2022, and I got to tell you, I've been a big fan of some of the marketing that I've seen so far. They've done some really creative social media work this year, and so we're going to spotlight some of that, and we'll talk to Steve coming up here on Low Country Chronicle. Here on Low Country Chronicle, Tim Wood, excited to be joined by a longtime RBC Heritage Tournament Director, Steve Wilmot. Steve, how are you?
Tim, great, thank you. Thanks for having me on and thinking about the tournament. This is great.
So excited. We're getting back to normal here. You guys we've all endured some unprecedented times, and you guys have pulled it off through it all, and now it seems like we're coming out on the other end of this a little bit.
Well,
don't want to jinx ourselves, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a trying time for all of us in the last few years, and our business is, even though I sit here and say it's 13 months out of the year, if not 12, 52 weeks out of the year, it's we're a week, but we're more than a week, and but the planning that goes into it, the excitement of what's about to happen here in a couple of weeks, but also looking back to what happened here after 19, which was certainly a banner year, but then jumping into 20, having it canceled, having it rescheduled, and then planning for something in 20, not 21, not sure what it was going to be, to limited capacity, which was completely different, to where we are now, and we're not what we were in 2019, and I hope we want to be better. You do better to be better to get better, and we learned a lot over the last few years, and not that we use a pandemic. You hate to use something like that as an opportunity, but we looked at a lot of things of how we did business, how we're doing business, and things that we did, work on, might have done 5 years ago, might have been right, let alone last year. But we've tweaked some things, and we're hoping, in a couple of weeks from now, we're back and ready to go and in full swing, and excited about the future.
I mean, I think one of the things that's always impressed me about the Heritage and about you and your team is you're always tweaking. It's never like, okay, this is working. It's like you're always looking, you're always doing postmortems and how can we get better?
Absolutely, and that's just it. I learned something years ago from Papa Joe, Mr. Joe Frazier. The day you're content is the day you get past. And we're the biggest show in town and the biggest event in South Carolina, and one of the premier PGA Tour events in the country. But we want to continue to get better, and the day you stop learning is the day you get out of the business, and we want to continue to do things better. And one thing we learned over the last couple years too is in 2019, you look at that Saturday of 2019, we couldn't have gotten another person out on the golf course. And you know what? It wasn't a good thing, and we realized that. We're not just here selling tickets and, trying to make money. And yes, we are trying to make money for the bottom line, giving back to charity, but we realized that, we don't want to be where we were in 20 with no spectators. We also didn't want to be where we are in 19 and knowing where we were in 21. This gives us an opportunity of managing the site. We've structured our tickets a little differently, and when we talk full capacity this year, it's less than where we were in 19, but it's something that we want to enhance the experience, added value to the ticket and sponsors and the partners, as well as the players and our volunteers too. So, we continue to have a wonderful team, have great leadership from our trustees, have 1,200 plus volunteers that are working extremely hard, and not just the week of the tournament. That's what people don't realize, that they're meeting and gearing up and brainstorming, and we lean on them. We had a meeting today with some of our ambassadors and hospitality ambassadors, and we listen. We need to listen because there are eyes and ears out there too. We can't be everywhere, so it's a team effort. It's a community effort, and I'm fortunate to be a part of something extremely special and to be able to work with such wonderful people and such as yourself and the support we have from the media and things too. It's a win-win-win, and we're all in it together. There's no I in team, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Steve, what you guys have gone through the last couple of years, I say this to everybody, all the small businesses, restaurants, we all had to adapt. And in that adapting, there's some things to be learned. There's maybe some new ways to do things with the tech or with the, with enhancing the experience, even though that wasn't the experience everybody was used to with the tournament. It seems like, especially with the virtual tickets, you guys have kind of evolved and maybe picked some things up positively over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I'll get into the tickets, but one thing I'll talk about is, we look at our concessions offerings. We've had and continue to have and have had, civic organizations helping, but we partner with the Surge Group, and in Surge Group, one of the premier catering concession companies around, in this community, in this area. They're going to run the back of the house. That's what they do. The front of the house will still be managed and run by the concession or the civic groups. But you're going to see an upgrade in the food here and the different experience, and not just the hot dog, even though hot dogs are still the #1 seller. But you'll see something added value there too, and having the civic group still helping, but a little different operation with it. And with regards to the mobile ticketing, I mean, this has been a plan for about 4 to 5 years of getting to this point.
It's not something you can do in a month.
Yeah, and absolutely. And we're learning here now too. And we have a designated ticket manager that's working extremely close with Ticketmaster and the PGA Tour. And the PGA Tour is assisting and helping us with this. It's the biggest change in my lifetime here has been this mobile ticketing, but it is the wave of the future. And people, if you go to a Clemson football game or you go to USC football game, you go to a concert, you get on an airplane.
High school basketball, middle school basketball. It's crazy.
Volleyball. You're absolutely right. So, we're unique because we are a golf course, 18 holes through a public, a private community, but streets. There's not a core golf course and parallel fairways, and there's access points. So we've had to maneuver and manage that. We're going to have some hiccups. There's no doubt about it this year, but it's the right way. It's the right thing to do. It's the correct thing to do. And got a great team in place. We have a lot of support. We're bringing in other tournament directors from around the country to help support Tyler Schutz, who's our ticket manager, and help them through the process. But again, we're going to have great volunteers to support us, and it's going to be an exciting time. But we'll also be able to. It helps us. It will help us next year in managing the tournament, understanding our operations, how many people are really on site.
It gives you analytics, right? It gives you the kind of analytics that the tech gives you those analytics that you may not have. It may have been more of a manual process before, right?
Oh, absolutely. And this isn't Big Brother and Big Brother looking down upon. I mean, some of the things that people don't realize. We used to sell weekly badges. So weekly badges consisted of 7 days, and we had studies done that those weekly badges were used 3.2 days a week. We didn't know which days. So, we would have to plan all 7 days operationally to handle those people. And, so.
You can't just say, okay, 3.2 days. All right, they're going to be gone by Thursday at 4 p.m.
Right. So these are things that we've looked at, and people don't understand. There are a lot of people, but not a lot, but most understand. We have some that are, what are you doing? What are you thinking? But a lot of times it's the person that, that lives nearby the golf course and wants to walk out. What are you doing? Why are you making it inconvenient? Well, guess what? You don't walk into Lambeau Field off your street, and go into it. So our Lambeau Field is Harbour Town golf links, and people have been, they're accustomed to things, and we understand. And history's good, and history's difficult at times. And this is the right thing for many reasons. Working with our partners, working at our restaurant like it. They understand it. They're going through it. And a lot of them have experienced it, whether going to NFL games or the Palmetto Championship out of Congaree using the same system we are. The PGA Championship up at Kiowa used a very similar program as we're doing. So people understand it. My 18-year-old daughter, it's a whiz to her. It's some of the
second
more
nature.
mature community. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my 12-year-old doesn't even know what a ticket is. It's like it's all right on here.
Exactly.
So in terms of the fan experience, just my experience with the mobile ticketing is it's in and out much quicker.
Yeah, and we're doing it too. Majority of our general admission parking is at Honeyhorn. Well, you'll be scanned out at Honeyhorn, and you'll get your wearable. So a lot of the ticketing and going through your Apple Wallet and showing your ticket will be done before you even get down on site.
Wow.
So and you will be have a wearable too, because we have to be able to identify whether you got a ticket in your wallet or not. So
and plus that's part of the fan experience. So that's great to hear too. The wearables.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, and because from other tournaments, what we've learned is, and they brought to our attention is, those tickets are collectibles. I mean, they are, people have been to 30 straight tournaments and all. So we have created, so it might sound like it's an over, maybe an exercise, one too many, but we need to do it. And once you have it, you have your identification, your wearable, you can come and go. But there's a lot of things we've learned about the process that we'll learn from it. We'll do our debriefs, come the end of April, May, and then we'll implement them for next year, and so we'll be better for this next year.
Steve, what's your favorite part of? For some folks, to be at a job as long as you've been at nowadays is abnormal in today's world. The attention span of the employee tends to not be what it used to be. And what keeps this fresh for you year after year?
I think it's the relationships and the fact of learning. It's not about me, it's about we. It's about doing things together to get something done. It's not about my job, it's about our job of doing stuff. Yes, I've been here a long time, and maybe that is abnormal, but maybe I'm abnormal, but I continue to learn.
It's a good abnormal.
I look back and I look at the opportunities. People, unfortunately, in this community don't remember the Joe Frazers and the Deke DeLoaches and John Currys and Angus Cotton. And they're, before those gentlemen, unfortunately, are all deceased, but they gave me an opportunity and believed in me when others didn't. And that's why I continue to work hard. I came to Hill for 10 months, and Sea Pines was in bankruptcy, and that's 37 years ago, and this is my 36th tournament. So, and it's because of those gentlemen that gave me the opportunity, and I'm blessed to be here. I have a great team. Unfortunately, I'm the face of the team, but these guys are doing the work. We work together. This community is unbelievable. This community is so volunteer-driven and volunteer-based too. It's a pleasure to work here and to be a part of something that together. I don't have all the answers, and I'm not the brightest guy, but I like to do what's best, and whatever we do together is for the good of all of us.
In terms of the field, can you talk a little bit about the field this year and what folks can expect?
Yeah, it's and I shouldn't say I'm pleasantly surprised, because it's certainly we are a special place, and with an incredible golf course. We're not a cookie cutter in some of these grip it and rip it type. So you're truly a shot maker, so you don't have to be that bomber. But when you have the likes of the Colin Morikayas and the Justin Thomases and the Daniel Bergers and Dustin Johnson and Fleetwoods, and we announced today Hendrik Stenson and Zach Johnson, which people might say, well, geez, what's of importance to them? Well, they're Ryder Cup captains, and they're here. Hendrik hasn't been here since 2012, but he wants to be here to check out these young talents. He hasn't been around a lot of these guys, so it's a compliment to the strength of our field. We're the week after the Masters, and that's I look at it as not just the premier event in golf, but one of the premier events in all sports. And we found our niche. I mean, a lot of tournaments don't like to lead up to a major or be a week after, but we're 3 hours away. It becomes Tommy Fleetwood is staying with another player that we haven't announced yet, which we will be announcing here later this week. But it's great. We're going to have a really strong field, and it's only going to get better.
I mean, and the experience for the golfers and their families too. Through the years, I've seen it time and time again. It means so much. The pressures that they face, getting through Majors Week, getting through Masters Week, and then to have this, and to have this week on Hilton Head, and then on top of it, guys like you mentioned coming back. After this pandemic, I think a lot of folks have realized, and a lot of the golfers that I talked to, the experience, it means as much now that they took a lot for granted maybe beforehand.
Yeah, well, a combination of a couple things with that too is you look at, we had some players here in June of 20 when we played that normally wouldn't be here because they wouldn't have come because it would have been the week after the Masters. The John Rahms, I'm trying to think. There's a few others that normally Brooks Koepka was here, and then a lot of these guys are like, shoot, why haven't I been here? I need to be there, and so. But then also the condition, they know what they're getting here too, and nothing against Augusta. Like I said, that's the premier event in all sports, the Masters. But these families come down here and they've got oceanfront homes. We try to do some things for the spouses and families, but most of the time they're going, shoot, you've got beach, you've got dolphin cruises, you've got, boating, fishing, we've got everything here. So even though we do have a premier daycare in all the PGA Tour, I know we do, and there's some things that we do that people are unaware of.
That's one of those things that no one would think about when you say you have the premier daycare. But those are the little touches that makes this special for so many players.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things. People, their families, they're traveling together, and they children, and being Easter week, we traditionally have 80 to 100 kids that we're looking at in some form or fashion, not all day, but we also work with a lot of different companies. We take these the children on dolphin cruises, putt putt. We've taken through workout classes, beach walks. There's a lot of things, but there's a whole volunteer group that handles that. And something we learned too. I mean, we with the bubble, and we always had players registration, players and everything was down on site, but we had to move it back in 20 because of the bubble and COVID, and we moved it outside the gates to USCB. Well, after we did that, and we're forced to, we're like, shoot, why didn't we do this before? And then we did it last year in 21 with limited capacity, and now we're continuing to do that. So the players, come and register and do everything outside, and then they disperse to go to their condos and villas and homes outside. And we run everything from there too. So and again, that's UFCB are great partners. The town, helping us, assisting us with that too is it's a win-win-win for everybody.
In terms of the charity part of it, Steve, I think that's probably the one thing folks in around the pandemic were worried about, that the charity contributions wouldn't be as much and they'd never return to where they were maybe. Can you speak just a little bit about the commitment to the foundation and the charity component of the tournament?
Absolutely. I mean, that's truly why we do what we do, and that's the Heritage Classic Foundation is a 501c3 non-for-profit organization. There is some people out there that think it's a for-profit event for the south end of the island and some other things, but it's about giving back. And unfortunately, last year was a tough year. We had to, the last couple of years, but we did take our charity matching dollars from 15% to 10%. We've taken it back up to 15%. In a lean year last year, we did $1.7 million to charity, and this year we're anticipating to be well north of that at this stage of the game because of the ticket sales and partners, and our sponsors stepping up and all too. But that's why we do things. I mean, yes, there's a huge economic impact to the community, as well as you can't even put a dollar amount of the television exposure of all over the world and the viewership too. So that's a whole nother aspect of the tournament. But we're fortunate. We're one of 45 stops on the PGA Tour in the entire world, and we're one of. There's a lot more than 45 communities in this world, let alone golf courses, and we happen to be one of those. So we're excited, and we're in that phase right now. I was down on site again today. We're building now to finally. It's the execution phase, the build out phase of people, which is exciting. Like yourself, you might not have been down here recently, but you show up in 10 days, you're going to go, geez, man, where'd this come from? And it's, but that's our operations team. It's working with Sea Pines. I mean, the resort itself, people have to understand there's a partnership relationship there too, that the conditions, the facilities, it's yes is the answer. What's the question? Let's work together. Let's figure this thing out. And, it's an exciting time. I mean, to see the tents and the bleachers and, it's Hargray working with Palmetto Electric, working with Spectrum, working with, I mean, these are all things that happen, and it doesn't happen like this in other tournament sites in the big cities and all. And it's, it's the TV tower guy working with our tent and bleacher company and helping each other out. That's what it's about.
That's one of my favorite parts of just this week. The event that is the Heritage is just the community involvement. It's just another reminder of the community togetherness that exists around here. And I mean, you mentioned Surge Group. I mean, Surge, phenomenal partners. Care about the community a ton. I just ran a fundraiser for the Fields family, the kid who was killed here in Bluffton. Yeah. And Surge, it's like it was not even it was like, what can we do? Like it wasn't a yes or no. It was what can we do and what do you need? And
And two things with that too. Yes, you look at some of our vendors, but the two communities. I mean,
Yeah.
um, our mayor, our town manager, our Mayor McCann and Mark Orlando, let alone Josh and Sean, and then you have Lisa and Bluffton. I mean, we kind of look at Bluffton as our driveway, into our house and or into Sea Pines or into the community. But I'll never forget a few years ago when we had some bad wind and had a bad storm. I didn't reach out to the town. The town reached out to me before I could blink, and they're like, "What can I do? What can we do? What do you need? You need some trucks. You need some removal. You need." That's what it's about. I am so blessed, so fortunate, and whether it's working with Beaufort County School Board, working with the Sheriff's Department, working with obviously Hilton Head, the town of Hilton Head and Bluffton, and I can go on and go up to Columbia as far too, because there's a lot of support up there as well.
Uh, I very much appreciate the time, Steve. I know it's getting busier every day now. One last question around the tournament exemptions, and I selfishly am wondering about a kid that rhymes with dimmer. Um, Chillachico
Yeah.
might have had a good week last week. I mean, are you guys close on any more exemptions?
Yeah, we've actually awarded four thus far, and we have two unrestricted, and then two that has to come from the Corn Ferry tour. And there's a reshuffle that happens Monday morning after this week's event, so we're kind of sitting there. Bryson has inquired about it in an exemption, and he is on a short list of ours. He did play phenomenal this week. It's a shame he finished T11.
I
If he
know,
finished
right?
top, if he finished top 10, he would. And it's not because he didn't play well. He played well. It's just the leaders shot a little better there or scored a little bit more. But he's being considered along with a lot of other guys. I mean, we have almost we've said no to about 60 players already, that have inquired about wanting to play here because of our strength of field, and it's the toughest part. It's interesting that you would ask that question, because there's no doubt in all my years you think I'd figure this out and it'd be easy, but it's not. There's so many qualified guys, worthy guys, and worthy professionals that deserve it, but we're a limited field, invitational only, 132 players, so it shrinks down those that can play. So that's why they request, and so we keep an eye on those guys. Ben Martin's another guy that it played phenomenal this week, just didn't get it done. But there's others. We have awarded Jim Furyk, which is between Camelia Villegas, Jonathan Bird, and Scott Brown right now. And there's connections with all those
Mm-hmm.
gentlemen. And that's how we look at the exemptions.
Sure.
To give it to a great player out of California, you know, he's a great player. But if you have a local, you have someone statewide, Clemson, South Carolina, that means something. It's like Brian Harmon a few years back. I mean,
Absolutely.
Savannah. You want those local home feeling. That's where we hold on to those exemptions and see how it plays out. So.
Do you have any more to issue at this point in the game, or is how set is the field?
Yeah, well, the field isn't officially set till 5 o'clock the Friday before, and then the winner of the previous week's event, which in our case would be the Masters, has an hour after his putt to decide if he wants to play too. So, so that's you always get your fingers crossed, and with regards to that, and you never know. We certainly have had Jordan and Zach and a few that have showed up after winning up there. And have committed. But yes, we have two that we have to use from Q School or Q School / Corn Ferry, and we do have two unrestricted spots. But we have a couple that we're kind of holding on to that are currently in our field. That should they get in on their own, we'll get those back. But if they need them, we've kind of short them. So not that it's a game by any means. It's just kind of where we are and the reshuffle and some other things. So.
Absolutely, and that's interesting in and of itself. A lot of people don't understand. Like everybody's like, well, why don't they just why can't they just give this kid? Why can't they give Jonathan Grizz an exception in the field? Or, it's a constantly moving parts in terms of who's earned into the field through the PGA, through the Corn Ferry. So. Yeah.
See, I could right here make it official and give you one, Tim, but I don't know how that would go over. I mean, I could use an unrestricted on you, but it's
no.
But that's the thing people don't realize. It's not as easy. And there's some, you mentioned a couple names. There's other guys in this community.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Doden, Blake Kennedy. There's some other PGA Tour professionals. Jonathan Grizz is going to he's the real deal, and we'll be here someday. And we'll, at the right time, he'll earn his way here. But yeah, there's some great players in this community, and Will McGirt's out there now at Berkeley Hall, and the one thing you mentioned about Bryson as well too. He's a pretty good golfer, but he's a better young gentleman too, in any class act, and we wish him all the best with continued success, and hopefully he'll, everybody might see him in a couple weeks, but we're not there yet.
Absolutely. Anything else that we forgot? We covered a lot of ground here, Steve. Anything else we forgot that you want to get out there? I've got the website up on the screen, obviously, rbcheritage.com. Where are tickets at this point?
That's one thing. I'm glad you bring it up. We only have grounds badges left. We sold out at our shared hospitality a good week or so ago. We will be announcing, if not certainly days of being sold out, if not the whole week. And it's just the excitement, it's the buzz. It's us monitoring too. We just don't want to sell tickets, and then all of a sudden, like he did in 19, he created parking, transportation, security, restroom, concession lines, EMS. Working with the town and EMS, it was geez, how am I going to get over there if there's a problem? So these are things that in our planning from 19 to 20 to 21 to here. We monitor those things. So if people are interested in tickets, I wouldn't wait to the last minute and check and see how the weather's going to be. And it's not things are good, but we're also wanting to have a great experience. We just don't want to. We want those people that buy tickets to sit here and go, shoot, I know I'm here and I want to be here and I want to be back next year.
Steve, it's just a pleasure speaking to you. I said to Angela McSwain, I said, can I have 5-10 minutes? I mean, knowing you and knowing me, I knew we were going to talk a little bit more than 5-10 minutes, but I really appreciate the time.
Well, it gets me from unloading some trucks out back. So if you want to talk a little longer, I will. But
save the back a little bit, huh?
Yeah. No, you can tell I'm excited, and I don't follow the script very well, but it's because we have something special. I'm fortunate to be a part of something, and but I also have a team behind me that is getting after it right now. We will be late into the evening, and it's like I talked to my boss this morning, and she said, "Are you okay?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You left at 4:30 this morning." I said, "Well, there's a lot going on, so it's but it's all good. It's good. I'm not complaining. It's adrenaline, the excitement, and it's we appreciate your support and all you do for us as well. We're in this together, so looking forward to a great week.
Awesome, Steve. Thanks so much for the time.
Anytime, you know that. Thanks, Tim.
Down to the dock, put the Yeti in the back and she's ready to rock. It's a May River thing. It's a May River thing.